you don't have control over, or the one that is socially constructed by you because you and your people or your friends, there are some friends that are very, very close, and you can actually, you just discover that you guys are so close and you can build something worthwhile together. And that's another kind of family you can also look at. Personally, I will be a bit vulnerable on this conversation because family is something that everybody has. So no matter the story I share here, I want to also believe that they are purposeful to help us have a direction and to understand that these are intimate issues. And I will not come here to form that, oh, my family is perfect. Not at all. But I can tell you that one way or the other, we have things we're able to do and things we're unable to do. Are we together? I would like to get a response. I know this is like a presentation, but due to my nature, I would like to see in the comment section. If you're following, just tell me in the comment section, yes, I'm following you. Yes, it's relating to me. Yes, I'm getting you. Yes, I'm not getting you. I would like to get that feedback. Thank you so much. Um, oh, thank you, Hagbola, for that. I would like to see two more comments. And thanks for the screen being shared. So, thank you, Victoria, for that. Now, yesterday I was sharing with some people about my family and the fact that we grew up to be very independent. Unlike we grew up to be very independent, but it has its pros and its cons. Um, I come from a family of priests. My father was a pastor while he was alive, and my mom is also a pastor. And but before we got to that point of full-time ministry and all that, it was we had a bakery. I grew up in the bakery, and a lot of things happened. And why am I sharing? The reason why I'm going this route is because sometimes the fact that a particular family puts some things um, out there, there are things that is just within that family that they can know about it. And I know you can relate with some of these things. One of it is the fact that my father is actually a very popular person in our community. He's a community leader, he's a pastor, he's a good man, and all that. He can do everything around the street. We have water challenge, environmental challenge at a point. He galvanized people to make it work. We have constructing bridges. When it comes to vigilante work, he will be there. I remember a few months before he died. And he was telling. I went to him and I saw him standing in the midst of people around 1 a.m. I mean, trying to tell them about the security situation. It seems there is somebody that was caught, the vigilantes that were there. And I was shocked. What is this man doing at the middle of the night? That's I'm just giving you a vivid picture of who my father was. But I will also let you know that we don't really have close bond with him like that. Yeah, and I know some of you might understand what I'm saying, but it's not like he's there, he's present when it comes to giving you resources. If it's academics, you will see your money and everything will go on when if he has it, when he had it. But what I'm saying is that at a point, he also realized it that there was no close bond between him and us. And before he died, I can tell you that sometimes we struggle. This is actually very that. Now, I saw his leadership side, and it really taught me a lot about leadership. And that is why, for many people who have seen my work, I learned directly from him as a leader, spiritually, physically, and all that. And I will always recommend somebody like that as the president of this country. And he also, which one of us, we actually lead the country one way or the other. Now, but when it comes to social interaction, most African fathers, which is not a totally a wrong thing, but and I think, like I was saying, they don't also know better. When he realized the need for close bonding with us, most of us were already older. Most of us couldn't really make that connection. I could remember posting on social my WhatsApp status talking about the fact that, oh, I spoke with my father for the first time for 20 minutes. For a lot of people, they might not understand. For you to speak to your dad for that long. Now, and a lot of people, well, what's the big deal there? Because it was hard even having such communication for 10 minutes. Now, why am I saying this? For a child that doesn't understand communication or bonding and interaction from the home, there is definitely going to be a challenge in them interacting with the outer society. When it comes to now building a framework for peace, a framework for transformation, it will only be theoretical in so many sense. Now, it have to take intentionality and retraining. And thanks to God that few months before he passed on, I did a project at home that really helped us to correct some of the, and it was just very brief. And that was the first time we have like a family meeting. After that project, I did a debate program for people in Ore. My place is actually Ore in Ondo State. And I'm sharing this story for us to just be able to connect better. Now, after that program, he was so proud that, I gave my salary as the gift for the participant, and he was shocked when he heard about it. Somebody wanted to come and disrupt the program, and he almost changed it for them, you know. And after that program, he prayed for me, and we started conversing. And there was an ignition, different ignition that happened at that time. And a month after that, he passed on. Now, so many things happen in line, and so many things might not be corrected, but there are so many things that can be relearned and be retrained and all that I have to train by myself so that I will not be forming it outside because I'm a peace builder. But because if you front it, that will be double standard, that will be hypocrisy, that will even sound like imposter syndrome. You're building peace everywhere, and even in your home, there is no synergy, there is no communication, there's no active listening, nobody's, and that I thank God I was able to treat. So let's move to the next slide. Now, all that is to tell you that no matter who you want to be, no matter that desire to transform a society, you should start from your home. It was not easy. And I'm telling you that even till now, because that has passed down a lot of disconnection, even within my siblings. And every time I'm trying my best to pull everybody together. Now, why am I sharing this? Because if you cannot do it with a smaller group, it will be difficult for you to do it with a bigger group. You want to change Nigeria, you want to transform the society, you want to transform your school. But if you did not intentionally create structures within your family, look into your family and say, oh, are we actually a peaceful family or we are just avoiding violence? In my family, there can't be violent, but we might not talk. I mean, in the past, we might not talk for a long time. And when there is no communication, you won't even know when you are building a cold war within those systems. Now, you must begin to see the family, see your home, see you and your neighbors and everything as a small proportion of what the society wants. Now, the family is the first institution before the government, before school, before community associations and all that. Now, school has a lot of things to do, but they cannot replace the home. And also, I was trying to advise a friend who the children are still very small, like 3, 5, and they were already thinking of a boarding school, a border for them. And I was asking some question why, and and it was like he's busy, he's this, he's and that was actually what brought that conversation. And I was trying to share with him, even our own my own time, we attended day school, but even at that, because there was a lot of work and all that for the parents, we did not have that connection. The time they want that connection we were no longer available. And that is important, that we must pay attention. And most of us, we must start paying attention, serious attention to family bonding, to family connection, to how we organize ourselves. And I will also talk about the understanding of peace and democracy, or freedom of expression, is something that if you miss it from the home front, in the family level, you will struggle to be expressive, you will struggle to be confident, you will struggle not to be a bully. Most bullies we see in our society right now started when they were in school, started when they were at, at home, started when they were. Okay, somebody is saying something. Okay, Victoria is saying, Honorable Speaker, please do not forget the children on the street who will one day raise a family. How do we assist these ones? Okay. Yes, and that is why there is a position for there is an alternative for this kind of training. As I said myself, directly or indirectly, aside from the spiritual teachings and all that, that part of direct teaching or connection between parent and the child, I don't have it too. I mean, the major one, aside from the devotion, I was telling someone that in my house everything is prayer, which is good. Devotion in the morning, devotion in the evening before you go to bed. But I'm telling you that within that gap, we might not have a single word in some cases, and everybody's very busy. But I'm saying that even for those who don't have, and I still have some privileges because I still have a father, then, mother. But I'm saying that for those ones that are not opportune, it is our duty to bridge that gap. We that we think we know, or we are in this kind of training and we are assigned, we must be ready to engage and bridge that gap of inequality that exists by sharing some of the tips you will be learning from this training, by engaging different groups and every form of socializations, which we might be looking at. Let's continue. We talk about first law court for discipline, first peace table for conflict trans. So all these things are things that exist in the home. From the home, from the way you people decide on who does what, when are we going to do stuff. Most families now have WhatsApp group, and I can tell you that some decisions are just made by single persons. Somebody just made this decision for everybody. That is not a peaceful home in the real sense of it. That might be negative peace. We are not going deep into the definition of peace today, possibly in other sessions, but know that we have two types of peace. One is positive peace, the other negative peace. Negative peace is when there is no violence, the absence of war and violence, or chaos in the real sense. Why or when you achieve peace through violent means. You can shut somebody down. You can actually stop people from fighting, but in a violent way. Not that they submit themselves to your authority. You are just showing your position, and you're forceful about it, and that's is not totally bad. That is what we see in peacekeeping, in peace enforcement, and all that. It has a value in itself, but it should be a means to an end, not a means in itself. Which means when you use negative peace engagement and all that, which means you are just forcing things to stop and to have peace. You must now follow it up with positive peace understanding. So, what is positive peace? Positive peace in this sense means it's not just about the absence of violence. It's not about just we ensuring that people are peaceful by force. It's about us ensuring social justice. It's about us ensuring security. It's about us experiencing development in the recent. So people are not being at peace because they are scared of you. They are at peace because they value you and they respect you, and they agree with the entire thing, and they contribute to ensure that that thing works, and they feel that everything done is fair to them, and that is when you have sustainable peace, which is what we really really want. Now, from you, the home, it is expected that issues and things are decided by everybody. In homes where you see that it's just the father that make decision and everybody must follow, a child, if you are being a victim of that, is something you must start on learning and ensuring that you don't transfer into your kids, in a way that you must ensure that your home has an atmosphere of peace. It must be a home. Okay, I think my time. So uh let's move on. Can you move on the slides? I'm not going to walk through the slides. Don't. It's just I'm going to run it like a speech. I just want you to pick one or two things. Possibly in further engagement, we can go deeper into peace engagement. So, from home, we must train children to learn major skills in peace building. And what are the skills in peace building? The first one I want to talk about, even before the one I listed here, is active listening. As a parent, you show, you don't tell. As a person, you show, you don't tell. And showing without telling is, or it's not like you will not talk about it, but we are saying that you model things out. You yourself that want to teach the other person to be in any particular way, you must also learn to listen to them. Because if you don't listen to a child, you don't even know what the child is going through. You don't know what the people around you are going through. There's no way you can. Okay, I can see the time. I will say I can wrap up as fast as possible. So, if you don't take charge, if you don't show active those skills, active listening, because active listening will help you to also be empathetic, which means that you are putting yourself in the shoes of the other. And with that, you are going to show respect to the other person, and you will take responsibility for whatever it is that you've done. Most parents, I can't remember any time that parents say sorry. How many of you, maybe, I don't know, I'm a millennial though, but I don't know if you, I would like to see how many of you do you, as your parent, a millennial now, not Gen Z. I think some Gen Z have some sweet parents, by the way. And there are millennials too that have sweet parents. That your parents offend you and they come to you and say, I apologize to you. How many of us have that experience? I would like to see in the comment section. The truth of the matter is, while I'm waiting for your responses, because of time, let me just move on. You see that it's a bit hard for a child that have not experienced the parents showing forgiveness, showing vulnerability, showing taking responsibilities for their wrongdoings. Most times it will be difficult for them to take responsibilities to when they mismanage government funds, when they mismanage things, when they do things anyhow, when they wrong the other people. And that is how we transfer such bad characters and behaviors to the next generation. Now, if a home models violence or dishonesty, Elijah is saying, I don't recall myself. I'm racking my brain. For you to be racking your brain to when your parents really say sorry or appreciate you, I would have even loved to share that. I grew up, I can even say that aside from taking responsibility, another thing is appreciation. Some of our parents never even showed us that they are, maybe you did well. I remember in my SS1, there was this like an informal bet that if I had A1 parallel, I will something would be done or something. I'm trying to remember now. And I got home and I was so happy I had A1 parallel, as we discussed, maybe one of them. And I got home, and all my mom could say was that go inside, because the church was not far from our house. Go to the church and give thanks, and which is not bad in itself. Which is not bad in itself. It taught me it taught me that, oh, anything that you accomplish in the world or in life, you should transfer that glory to God, which is a good lesson. But the other part of it was that the people that did not get A1, even up to 5, I had 9 ones or more than 11 A1s, but I think those ones, you just discover when you go back to school, you went back to school and you realize that they were saying that they went for shopping and all that. And you only went and kneel down and praise God, and nobody even talk about it. There's a way it make you to feel like you are not cared for, or these people doesn't reason me. So I have limited time, but no matter where I stop, I just want us to know that we must model our home. We must start modeling our home in a way to transform, you know, in a way to transform the society. It's a society that doesn't really take responsibilities has that dysfunction from home. A society that feel entitled and is just entertainment or anything is mirroring what they do at home. So let's move on. I think the next one will just be, please, next slide. I know that there's no way I will cover these 20 plus slides, but let me just say the connection between this is that a peaceful home, if a home is peaceful, is just, and you know, it links well with Sustainable Development Goal 16 for those of us who are in this space, or if you're not in this space. SDG 16 is about peace, justice, and strong institutions. Now, there's no way we can have strong institutions when our homes and families are weak. Now, if everybody's home, if all our homes are strong and very, very conscious of honesty, leadership skills, bonding, and all that. Murphy is saying, till my father died, he never done that. So I want to believe that we understand that. However, what I'm saying in essence is that they did to the best of their abilities. I have to forgive myself. I have to forgive other people. I mean, I have to also understand that they were able to give me to the best of their abilities. Now, please, the last slide, and I'm done. The last slides. Next slide, please. Last slide, last slide, last slide. Let me just talk about final action. Okay. So I will want all of us to commit to making every home a seedbed of peace. Because from the family to society, peace is everyone's responsibilities. There are several things we skip in this lecture because of time, but the major thing for me is not about quantity, it's about quality of the information you get. And that is understand that the whole, anything you do, understanding of peace in the society and interpersonal peace or national peace or international peace should start from your home, should start from the family. And I'm so sure that when we all, if we clean the front of our compound, which is now, if everybody manage their families very well, ensuring those skills I mentioned, like active listening, empathy, um, respect, emotional intelligence, things like that. And we are able to understand our differences and manage our expectations. I can assure you that gradually we will develop and we will have a country and communities that are one, just, not only just, secured, and very developed. Thank you very much for that. That's my time. Let me just stop here in case there are questions. Possibly, I might attempt to them. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Moses. That was insightful, knowledgeable, and practical, because some of the things you talked about are things many of us can actually align with. I hope you're all hearing me.
Yes, it's loud.
Are you hearing me? Okay.
Yes, it's clear.
So I want us to use our emojis and give Moses love, appreciation, gratitude, practical experiences he shared with us, and he was quite honest. And part of the problem we have with peace today is that many of us are not honest, and many of us cannot come to terms with some of these issues that are building up. So let's do a quick wrap up of some of the takeaways from the presentation Moses provided. He has told us that before we talk about national security, before we get to that level, we should first of all look at our inner self. How peaceful are we? What kind of deliberate actions are we taking to have that inner peace? Then when we move forward to want to have a home, what kind of partner, what goal of peace do we have for our homes? Are we teaching our children empathy, responsibility, social interactions, bonding, communication skills? Before we can transform our environment, transform our nation, are we able to transform ourselves? Are we able to look at ourselves? Are those gaps that are there, are we able to close them? And for me, those are very germane and those are very key. So that the home reflects the society. The home is everything that the society is. So we should go back and take decisive actions to ensure that there's peace, that when conflicts arise in our homes, we're able to adequately resolve them. Thank you, Moses. These are very germane, and I'm sure a lot of us have things we can take home from your presentation. So can we have the next speaker, Malik and Shegun? Can you please just quickly provide Malik's profile while he speaks? Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So am I audible, please?
Good afternoon.
You are, we can hear you. Shegun, go on.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to be sure I was audible. So, moving on to the next speaker, it goes by the name Abdul Malik Yahya, otherwise known as the Pondsmith, the Nigerian poet, social entrepreneur, behavioral coach, and a mental health advocate with over 6 years experience in advocacy and community development. Is the founder and elected president of SAES Tribes, mentoring emerging poets in northern Nigeria to promote a culture of advocacy through literary creativity. His poetry combines sharp wordplay with an expression of resilience, loss, love, and social justice. Abdulmalik's achievements include the AMA Abuja Prof. Udenta O. Udenta Performance Prize, the Timbuktu Poetry Challenge, and recognition as the two-time 2024 ANA Abuja Poet of the Week. His published works include The Cozy Pillow Talk, Nigerian Youth Seeds of Hope, Lost in Distance, The Space Between Words, Nigerian Youth, A Beating Heart, among others. Currently, he's working on Breaking Addiction of Days Away, a poetry collection that intertwines narrative and verse to confront realities of certain abuse among youth. This collection seeks to drive meaningful dialogue and inspire solutions to on addiction-related challenges in the region. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Abdulmalik.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. It's delightful to be here and to share this very timely discussion. And happy International Youth Day to everyone who is listening and to the youth globally. Without much ado, I will just go straight into my presentation, and I will stand on the existing protocol that was established by Mr. Moses. My name is Abdul Malik Yahya, as I was introduced, and I'm a mental health advocate and someone who has seen firsthand the power of art in recovery. And I'm going to be talking about voices that paint change and how arts protect, and we can use art as a means of protection and healing. As someone that is that has been into the depth of substance abuse and currently in recovery, I must say that I've seen the impacts of how you use either poetry, visual arts, and other forms of expression, including music, um, to prevent and to use art as a therapy and as a means of transformation. So art as a preventive mechanism against drug abuse. There are so many ways you can use that to prevent it, because as the saying goes, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So as time can be dangerous, when you have people that, or when you have your youth, let me focus on the youth and children. So let me when youth and children or young adults find themselves trying to know themselves, trying to figure out who they are in life. I believe artistic activities, keeps their mind busy, and they get to understand themselves. So another thing is identity building. So drug culture, it often sells a false sense of belonging. You have friends, of course, our previous speaker mentioned family. So there's family of creation, and there's family of procreation. So when one is usually in drugs, he creates a false sense of belonging with people around him, thinking his friends are his diehards, and other sorts of negative beliefs, which takes time, but I believe it's achievable, because I mean, my bio was just read, and all these accomplishments were all these accomplishments started happening after I became sober. So I will try and put my story a little bit into this, but as as it is known, I've done a detailed interview on my story on the NDLEA website, YouTube page rather, and then I was also a guest speaker at one of their Twitter Spaces, now X. So creative community, like spoken word clubs, theater groups, art collection, they give authentic belonging, and young people start to see themselves as artists, leaders, and storytellers. So here we talk about statistics. We will say that there are over 10 point something million people using or abusing cannabis daily. 1 in 7 people in Nigeria are affected by drugs and whatnot. But beyond the statistics, storytelling is how we create that awareness, and how we connect people, and how we make sure that the drive for using art and as a preventive, and preventive and so using art and storytelling is a very good way to, and a bold way to make young people feel the reality of drug abuse. Not just young people, parents, friends, those in it and those outside of it. So while I was working, let me share a brief story about the collection that I'm working on. So I started writing that collection when I realized that I was in a rehabilitation center. So the first thing I did was to get a pen and paper, because I had a lot of thoughts, rushing through my head, and I didn't want to take because I've seen others taking the route of being angry. It was this blaming others for their own misfortune. So I got a pen and paper and started writing down my thoughts. I was just writing them down, the strengths, the weaknesses, the resilience, and what have you. And over time, I started sharing with others, with other patients, with the doctors, with the nurses, and people were rallying around what I was writing, because it was speaking to them. I mean, it was connecting to them, and some of them will even end up start telling me, or start expressing their own stories through the poems I was writing. So of course I wasn't just writing my own personal story, but also writing the stories of people around me. For instance, while I was in the rehabilitation home, someone was feeling so angry and so down because of something that he thought was happening between him and a doctor. And I wrote a poem for it, and it's also part of the college. I wrote a poem for him, and he felt relief. So these are, when you create awareness through storytelling, even those that are that are into substance abuse, they tend to feel seen, and they tend to understand what is going what is going in their heads. And really, when when that happens, that is when we begin to see shift. That is when we begin to see, okay, we are preventing. There are a lot of preventive measures. I will have to give it, kudos to NDLEA for making sure that, because I've been following up, and it's constant arrest, constant this. But beyond the arrest, they are taking people for treatment, they are taking people for therapy, and they are helping a lot of young minds out there to make sure that substance abuse is prevented. Now, someone made mention of children. Someone asked a question in the comment section, or made an observation about children that are out there in the street, which is very, very alarming, because when you have about 18 to 20 million out of school children, now this is me calling statistics, when you have about 18 to 20 million kids out there that are not in school, most of them not with their parents, you tend to have a situation whereby they will grow
Burin
up.
ma ki sauka da shi ki sa shi a drawer show glass din nan.
So they will grow up and become what they see in the street is what they are going to adapt, and you will see them going into vices. Recently I saw a video of a very young boy who ought to be, when you imagine him being bred as an educated child, can become a doctor, can become a lawyer, can become something meaningful to the society. But because he found himself out of school and in the streets without any care, tends to end up, he was smoking, or he was taking a substance. So if you tell these people's story of, or you see the world through their eyes, and at least write something, creatively, or use music to advocate for them. I know that music is often associated, or rap music is often associated with drugs, violence, and sex. But beyond that, there are musicians that are out there trying to amplify, trying to advocate against all these vices, and especially substance abuse. So when we tend to use art in that way, what it does for them is it allows them have a creative expression. That's one. Secondly, it helps them connect with their subconscious mind, because what tends to happen is that we get, in cognitive behavior, the subconscious mind take over 95% of our realities. And when you have a means of escape that can connect you to your subconscious mind in a positive manner, I believe we should start rushing towards that angle. The role of arts in treatment and recovery, like I said, is one, art therapy for emotional healing. So it's not just about quitting, because once you quit, of course, it is a process, day and night. Like myself now, after I stopped, yeah, I was in a controlled environment for like 4 months, but when when you are deep into that space, you understand that it takes about 12 to 24 months before one truly heals. And to that end self, it is an extent, it's not completely. So what I did after coming out of rehabilitation center was to stick to writing, because obviously by the time I was there for a month or two, I was, in fact, some people were calling me the spoken words man, or the poet, or something like that. But to me, it was means of understanding my thought process, understanding my pattern, and as well a means of healing. because when you boil things out, even in anger management, I mean, we all know of journaling, we all know of painting, we all know of composing music. Is a way of confronting that negative emotions or that negative self-talk that you hold. And another thing that art does is it rebuilds one's self-esteem, because addiction often destroys a person's sense of worth. Your your sense of you be, one will be feeling hopeless, one will be feeling as if the world is going to crumble, one is feeling like, for me now, the biggest thing was I had to deal with was regret, because I was feeling like I cheated most of my adulthood, because I started at a very young age. I started at the age of 15, and it took me about 15 years to understand that enough is enough, because every year I would be like, hey, I'll stop it, hey, I'll stop it, but I didn't understand what was going on in my head. So, but when I decided to stop, I took my time to understand myself, to understand what was happening in my head, to under and that made me, through poetry and painting, and I would daily on a daily basis I will perform, or I will read it out for my doctors, for my nurses, for everyone around me, and I will give it out to the patients as well. Some of them, often you see them, you see their eyes welling up, like they're about to cry, like they are reading their own story. So, and that way, when you do that, slowly, the more you're connecting with your subconscious mind, the more your self-esteem is building, the more your confidence level is building. And another thing is social reintegration. So recovery is fragile, and it somehow feels, it makes someone feel isolated. And when you try to use art and do projects and bring people into a community, and one of my coping mechanisms was to create Sahel scribes, was to find Sahel scribes. So my community was founded solely on the base of allowing young people to have a positive way of expressing themselves, a positive and creative way of expressing themselves. And before you know it, people started reaching out to me. Okay, I like how you write, I want to learn how to write, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'm feeling like this, I'm feeling like that. I'll be like, just write something, bring it back, let's look at it, and fine tune it, to and share it with people. So the more we do that, the more we find a sense of social reintegration for young adults that are either in recovery or even trying to prevent. So there's a thin line between prevention and recovery. So I would like to share a story. When I came out of rehabilitation, I wanted to, um, of course, I was seeking for a job. I was seeking for how to get a job, and I got an opportunity. I went to that place, and to me, sharing my own vulnerability is a source of strength, and it tells me who is real in my life and who is not. So when I went for the interview for the job, I told I I I openly shared my story, and I was like, this is what's happening, this is what happened with my life. And to that day, I was slapped with silence. Nobody reached out to me again. And for a while, I thought the problem was me, but over time, I kept on writing, and I've come to understand the position I am now in life. I've come to understand that it wasn't my problem, it was they who had a problem. So, and one thing that made me realize that is the fact that I kept on writing, I kept on sharing, I kept on putting my work out there, and people started reaching out to me. One will reach out to me from here, the other one, and the opportunities that I got because of my own creative expression, because of how I took art as a means of recovery, is a testament to me. And I don't see it as something that I did, but also, yes, there's a strength behind behind it. What's the strength? The strength is me connecting with my subconscious mind through writing, me finding a means of expression, me reintegrating myself into the society through art, and also challenging social norms in terms of, because now it's not just substance abuse, it's everything that has to do with education, everything that has to do with peace. And by God's grace, now Sahel Scribes was selected this year to be one of only three globally to do a workshop on peace, by the Geneva Peace Week, by the Geneva Peace Building Platform, which is a huge achievement comparing to how I started from my recovery days. So I would like to call on or challenge youth leaders, educators, and policymakers, to make arts as part and parcel of everything that has to do with prevention and rehabilitation strategies. And beyond that, everything that has to do with policy making, especially in this day and age of distraction. Because I tend to give this analogy. When we live in a generation where everybody is just scrolling through reels, the only way we can connect to each other is through storytelling, and a storytelling that connects. So be it music, all these reels that we're seeing, be it music, be it through performance poetry, be it through the written craft. I believe if we integrate art, because I mean, culturally we take art to be just recreational, but it's beyond that. So I would like to close with this: if addiction breaks lives apart, art can be the glue that puts them back together. And if I will be permitted, I want to read just a poem from my collection, to just practically show how art serves as a source of healing and inspiration. So the title of this poem is Unchained Mind. As I close my eyes, swelling my lungs with air, I wrote this while I was in rehabilitation. So as I close my eyes, swelling my lungs with air, I visualize myself on a podium, speaking at a symposium, speaking truth on opium's hold and salt that stings old scars. My vision stretches far and wide, longer than the rivers Niger and Benue, flowing toward horizons unseen. I seek stability, sipping from my teacup, dissolving fake friends like sugar to ease the teardrops of betrayal. What drives me to change the murky tales of my nation, to strengthen security's sail and dock at glory and fortune's shore? But alas, I was lost, anchoring my dreams that wrecked me. Bygones whisper, time to grieve those dark memories. Now I am riding a wise wave, a tide high. I must ride it through, repairing the damage, shaping my mind again. I envision a brighter future, a towering factory, a family forging history, halls of knowledge where young minds glow. I must not forget to sharpen my own mind's mirror, to rise above the sea's horrors I know too well. The starting point is to shed my vices, to cleanse the fog that clouded my eyes, when all I did was feed my sight poison, not purpose, craving cancer sticks, itching for the morning's peak, scorching the temple where my soul once sang. No more. I will not tolerate this anchor on my soul, dragging my longevity down a jagged path. I seek the best in life, free from addiction's stride. One life, no second chances. At this point, I rally knowing my journey is achievable. No substance can drown my spirit. I am the captain of my heights, closing the chapter direct my sail, calling yesterday a snail with no shell. But today I walk tall. Remember, substance abuse is no compass. Dipping into its depth won't reach the deep blue sea. It's now or it's never. This is the cry of an unchained mind. Thank you very much.
Wow, 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 wow. Let us all use our emojis to appreciate Abdul Malik for strength, for courage, for boldness, for love, for empathy. Let us give it to Abdul Malik. Thank you so much. That was touching, that was educative, that was informative, that was courageous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Abdul Malik. So, Abdul Malik, in his presentation, has told us that arts can be a form of prevention against drug abuse and other risky behaviors. Arts can help self-awareness. Arts can help to keep young people busy as a form of prevention because they say the idle mind is the devil's workshop. Arts can help to create a new awareness against the false identity that using substances give to young people. Art can help to connect us to our subconscious, which can help us to rebuild self-esteem, which young people lose through drug abuse. It can help to challenge social norms. It can help for social reintegration. And a very practical example is he's writing his book while he was going through rehabilitation. Not just a story, but telling the story of others around him. Because most people during recovery blame other people, but art helped him to be strong and tell his story. So in his poem, Abdul Malik tells us that the past, yesterday, he was like a snail without a shell. But today, Abdul Malik walks tall over drug abuse and is ready to help and make impact as a global youth leader. Thank you, Abdul Malik. Shegun, can we go ahead with our last?
Oh, yes, please, you can. So our last speaker is a female. She goes by the name Musu Shenami Abosede. She's a final year psychology student at the Lagos State University. And she's current president of the War Against Drug Abuse WADA Club of LASU, Lagos State University chapter. And she was recently conferred as a WADA ambassador, recognition of her leadership in the fight against drug abuse. She has spearheaded impactful projects in collaboration with the Office of the First Lady, Lagos State, and of course with the National Drug Enforcement Agency, NDLA. As an SDG youth advocate, she promotes quality education and gender equality through consent and sexual health education. Her leadership also spans mental health advocacy, student welfare, and environmental action, reflecting a deep commitment to youth development and sustainable change. I kindly introduce to us Ms. Abosede. Over to you, ma.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sars. Good evening, Ma. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes,
Yes, we
please.
can. We
You
can.
are audible.
Yes, we can.
I really thank the Phenomenal Stride Foundation for this opportunity of talking about one of the problems we are facing in our society, especially as a youth. And happy International Youth Day to everyone on this call. Thank you for having me. Today we'll be talking on. I'll be sharing my slide now. Today we'll be talking on breaking the chains Today we'll be talking on breaking the chains and combating drug abuse through youth-led advocacy and support. Basically, in our society, youths are facing a number of challenges, and at this time we cannot just look at the youth and take away our eyes or just leave them alone to face their own challenges on their own. They need support, they need enablement, and they need people around to support them and to give them the courage to forge ahead of all the challenges they are facing. On this day, it is a pleasure to talk about one of the problems we are facing as youth. And it is a great opportunity for me to be part of this discussion, to share what we, the youth, are facing because I am a youth. And this is a great opportunity for me to talk to stakeholders, people, policymakers that can help us to drive a change and to hear us as youth, to hear our problems and to help us to provide solutions to it. So, moving on, as we all know, we are in a youthful stage. Youthful stage is a formative stage. We find youth on the streets, in the corner, in schools, secondary schools, tertiary institutions, struggling with diverse problems, maybe addiction, and most importantly, neglect. Youth are struggling all around. But one of the problems that we are facing as youth in this age is drug abuse. Drug abuse has eaten deep into our fiber. Even youth these days now see drug abuse as a norm, as things that is going on in the environment. They see it as a norm, as thing that is okay because my friends are doing it, me too, I can do it. We now see drug abuse as a norm in our society. So for the youth, drug abuse is a harmful misuse or overuse of substances, whether legal or illegal, that negatively impacts health, well-being, or personal development. In youth culture, we use drug because yes, I want to experiment, I want to recreate this, I want to test what is going on, I want to experiment new things, I want to explore, I want to say, okay, how is this going to affect me? But let me just try it a little time, let me just see it, let me just feel among, let me just use it. That is the youth culture for us. We want to explore, we want to feel it, we want to feel among. We want to say, oh yes, people are doing it. We want to join the latest trend. We want to say, oh, people are doing it, I want to do it. And these are something, these are what is affecting us as youth. And we have drugs that are commonly misused by the youth. We have marijuana, we have codeine, we have tramadol, alcohol, and etc. All these things are eating deep into our fiber, into our system. We are losing concentration as youth because we are just trying to explore, we are just trying to taste the world, we just want to feel it. But at the end, everything is coming back to us as the youth. In the 21st century, we the youth, we see substance or drugs as a way of life. We see it as a norms, and some people even see it because it is accessible. And many people are ignorant of the fact that there are risks that are attached to all this behavior. They don't even know. Even the social media, we are in the 21st century, in a digital age. The social media is helping us to promote to promote drug abuse in music, in videos, in content. We see that the social media is promoting drug abuse a whole lot. And moving on, why young Nigerians are turning into drugs like colos. For the youth, it is not about being bad. It's not that, yes, I want to do it. For the youth, it is about, I hope you can hear me.
We are hearing you. We are hearing you.
Okay, thank you. For the youth, it is not about the addiction. It is about using drugs to escape the reality. We are trying to fit in into a group. We are trying to seek a vibe. We are being influenced by popular music influencers, online trade. There are music that promotes drug abuse. We have Farouk, Shanosila Odiemombo. All these things are promoting drug abuse, are promoting illicit substances, and all this affects us as youth in our own in our own environment. And this really affects what we consume, how we see ourselves, and what we consume affects our own life, our health, our mental being all together. Today, drug abuse is not only found on the street lots, on the street corner. It is present at parties, in hostels, even on Snap stories. It is in every corner like candy. And many people did not realize that they are already addicted. Before, we don't see drugs because drugs are very expensive then, but now drugs are accessible. We can see it anywhere. We can see it even on campuses, in our environment, in parties. We see drugs everywhere. And then we have causes of drug abuse. We have curiosity and experimentation. People, many young people go into drugs because it's time to explore, because adolescent stage is like a stage for exploration. Many young people go into drug because of exploration. They want to try it once and feel, yes, I have arrived, I'm moving on. Yes, I'm joining the trend, I'm joining the latest trend in town. All these things are causes why youth join why use drug abuse. Then we have peer pressure and desire to belong. Many young people start using drugs in order to fit in with friends and to avoid being mocked or excluded. We have fear of missing out. Everyone is doing it. I want to do it. My friend are going to parties. My friend are taking cigarettes. My friend are into substances. I want to do it. That is one of the reasons why youths go into drugs. And we have emotional stress and mental health struggle. Many youths are facing depression, anxiety, trauma, or loneliness, and they try to use drugs in order to escape their reality. Yes, they might feel relief for some time, but that is not the solution to their problem. And many people go into drugs maybe even when they have family problems, relationship heartbreaks, academic or financial pressure, lack of access to mental health support. Many people go into drugs because there is no support from the family, there's no support from friends, they don't even have someone they can look up to. They go into job because of all this thing. And then we now have social media, we have the pop culture influence, especially in this age and time. Many things is wrong with our society, especially with the digital age that we are in. We have online reels, we have so many things, we have music that are glorifying substances in the music industry. All around on social media page, you see people that are constantly promoting drug abuse through lyrics. Some people online, they participate in online media challenges involving risking behavior, like you should drink, if you are able to finish this alcohol in less than 3 minutes, you'll be given 500,000. Yes, all this contributes to causes to causes why people go into drugs. And then we now have sapa as the works of as the word of the youth. Sapa, that sapa means poverty, or sapa means when you are broke. When some people are broke, and then we now have social media influence joining it together. They try to create like a shortcut to fake happiness, maybe joining by joining the online challenges. And this affects youth. This affect the youth so bad that they don't even reason again when they are doing all these things. And then we have unemployment and idleness. Unemployment is one of the biggest problem we are facing in our country, Nigeria. People will finish finish from school without getting job. So all these things will hinder them from not being able to say no to drugs, because when they have been faced with all these challenges, no work, no pay, nothing, they were just being idle, sitting at home. And we should not forget that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So all this affects whatsoever thing that they are doing. And then we have easy access to drugs. Drugs are often cheap. You see drugs all over the environment. And all these things affect us as you, because there's easy access to drugs. Youths can go on the internet and they can go to the streets to get drugs. This affects the youth's well-being and their environment in general, to the youth in general. And then we should not forget the consequences of this on the youth, the effect of drug abuse on the youth. It has like health consequences. Drug abuse does not just make us to feel good at the moment. Yes, it damages the body, the mind in a long run. Many people, they start to face challenges, health challenges, mental health challenges, brain damage, delay brain development, mental health issues such as depression, psychosis, paranoid, and physical issues like heart problems, liver damage, weight loss, and fatigue. Sometimes even sudden death, because when drugs has eaten deep into the system, it can cause sudden death. And moving on, we have academic and cognitive decline. Drug ruins potential, because when somebody will not be able to read again because they are into drug. And on campus, we have students that use drug to read. If you are using drug to read, there's no how you'll be able to remember what you are reading, because the energy you are using to read, you also need the energy to recall whatsoever thing you are reading whenever you are going into an exam hall. So this can affect their academic performance, their cognitive decline, because when you are using drug to read or to prepare for an exam, you also need to take drug in order for you to recall whatever thing you've read. And there is no I'm very sure there is no how they'll be able to get an alcohol or get the drugs when they are coming for exam, because they need to be calm, right? So all this affects their cognitive performance and their academic performance. We have we have legal and crime trouble. When they go into drugs, there's probability that they they fund the habit. When they are already into drugs, they want to fund the habit of, oh, I need to take this because there is already withdrawal symptoms. They need to get doing it always and almost every time. So, and if they did not get the money to get the stuff, they may steal from their parents, from their friends. They are engaging in fraud activity like yahoo yahoo. And then some people, when they are high on drug, they tend to assault, to 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 assault other people around them, and to maybe to beat them, or something like that. This kind of affect them, and it can lead to legal trouble, because when you are caught and you are violating the rules and regulation of the society, you will be arrested. And then we have addiction and dependency. When it's what start as just one try can lead to a long life bondage. you know Addiction did not just start at once. It's like a continuous activity. When you start taking drug now, it is very hard to come out of it, except through intervention, except through support, except through when someone is, oh, you don't need to do this, telling you the consequences of your action. Yes, people go into drugs because their body, they don't even know that they're already dependent on this. Their body becomes dependent. The individual cannot function without it, and this leads to withdrawal symptoms. When they try to stop, it becomes harder to quit at a time as time goes on. And also, drug abuse affects family, affects relationship, affects everyone around them. It's Drug abuse create distance between the youth and the people who care for them, between their parents and the children. Drug abuse affects life. It can ruin potential. It can ruin people around. Like the case on our campus, when there was a time someone went into drugs and there was no like a support. The person just end it all. That is, the person committed a suicide. All these things affect the society. It's not just the person itself, it affects the family, even the society. We now have broken trust, we have all these things. And drug abuse also leads to loss of dreams and early death. Drug abuse can lead to loss of dream. Drug kills dream. It kills dream. People have lost scholarship opportunity, job opportunity because of drug abuse. And this affects all round opportunity. So drug abuse does not just ruin the present, it hijacks the future. It breaks down the health, hope, and human potential once it at a time. On campus, the war against drug abuse is like Lagos State University. We have a club, War Against Drug Abuse, where we've collaborated with Office of the First Lady drug abuse. And one thing is very important: awareness. Awareness is very important. And I thank God with the initiative of Lagos State and Lagos State University and Lagos State government in fighting against drug abuse on our campuses in Lagos State. So when we advocate for it, we create awareness about it. When we talk to people about drug abuse, people did not even know that abusing common paracetamol can affect their life. But through awareness, through talking to them, through talking to one-on-one with students, we're able to show them that, oh, this path you are treading, it is not good for you. It is not good for your health. It is not good for the family. It affects every other thing you've put together. Because on campus, drug abuse affects every single thing that you are doing. When a student gets into drugs, in order to come out is very hard. It kills potential, it kills your family, because people around you will be worrying. They'll be like, oh, what is wrong with this student? What is wrong with this student? And also, our parents, they find it very difficult to cope with a child suffering from it, because our parents try to condemn, they didn't show empathy. But for somebody into drug already, they need empathy, they need support from the society. We are not to look down on them, we are not to abuse them, we are not to, but we are to show them love and support. We are to tell them that yes, you are in it already, but you can still come out. We are to show them support, we are to help them. Also, one of the things that can help the role of youth in combating drug abuse is peer-to-peer education and support. As students, when you see someone, or as a young person, when you see your friend around you going in that direction, you can talk to them, because we, the youth, we listen to our fellow youths most of the time. Because when they talk to us with, we understand them, in the same, like we understand the language of the youth. When I also talk to my own fellow youth, I know how to communicate with them. So youth most times listen to youth. So when we encourage peer-to-peer education and support for the youth, it helps us to know that yes, I'm not on this journey alone. I have other people that care about me. I have other people that support me. I have other people that can help me grow. And also, when we organize free drug free awareness campaign on campuses, we can use our social media page to promote drug, to tell them, to create
Mr.
awareness
Bosede,
about
please.
drug, to show that
On
drug
Mr. Bosede.
rules destiny. Yes, sir.
Yeah, please, I left a message for you on chats. Please check it out, please. Thank you.
Okay.
No, you can continue, please. You can
Okay.
continue,
So
please.
drug
Just check the
abuse.
message so I can interrupt.
Okay. Okay. Drug affects our lives as young people, and when the family come together to support, the society come together to support, and when you have a friend struggling, you don't have to shame them. They need your support. You need to listen and show concern, work with them to find help. You can pray with them as well and still present. Encourage them openly. Encourage openness and not banter. Among the youth, we try to banter each other, like, oh, he that is taking joke. No, in that way, we will not help the person struggling. But when we encourage them, we pray with them, we listen to them, we show concern about whatever thing they are going on. This will help them in changing or in finding their own path and in having hope in themselves that yes, I can still change, I can still find a way forward, and it will help them that show that people are supporting me, people are with me. Also, in conclusion, make a choice for life. Your mind is a treasure. Say no to fake escapes. Say yes to healing. Say no shame in pain, but in hiding or meditating in it is dangerous. You have to say no to colos and say yes to life. So I want everyone to say no to drugs, say yes to life. Everyone,
Say no to drugs, say yes to life.
It's to live.
say no to drugs, say yes to life.
Say no to drugs. Say
Say
no,
no to
no to.
drugs, say yes to life.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Listen to the young ones. I learned one song from you. Shall not see loud mumbo. I have never heard this before. You also use the word shakpa as when somebody's broke. I've never heard this before. So, Senami, that was very, very practical. Saying it as a youth, the life you live, the life you know. You told us there are drugs on campus, there are drugs and parties. They are not as expensive as those days. They are cheap, and that young people use drugs as a form of escaping reality. You also told us that young people now are not seeing drugs as anything that is bad, but they are seeing it as a norm and seeing it as nothing devastating. And that young people also need support, especially at this formative stage of your life. You said peer pressure is real because they want to be like their friends, they want to explore, they are losing concentration. Most of them are ignorant. They don't even know the consequences of the drugs they are using. And because we are living in a digital age, you also told us about the power of the social media, which is promoting drug use through videos, through music, and that colos not be cruise. It is a coffin wrapped in a rolling paper. My friends are doing it. I will also want to do it. And you told us that peer-to-peer education is very critical and very helpful to help young people who are using drugs. Senami, you did very, very well. You told us as it is. You laid it bare for us on the table. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. So now because of time, we just want to take maybe about 2 or 3 questions or comments, then we can close this session. Thank you very much. The floor is open for questions, for comments, for clarifications. But we'll take from maybe like 2 or 3 people, then we close. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. Do we have any hand that is up? Shag, with any hand up? Okay. Omotunde Kolio Show. You can unmute yourself, ma. The floor is yours.
Oh, good afternoon, Madam Ibiba Odili, ACG and retired, chairperson of Phenomenal Strides. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to thank Wusu Senami for that wonderful paper. I can very much relate with her paper, and as the true position of things. I think it has gotten to a point where we need to call a spade a spade. We need to involve policymakers in this matter. For instance, I have schooled in LASU. At the staff club, the place is open. They sell alcohol and alcoholic beverages, and it's accessible even to the students. They openly displays, I'm sure Sanami is here, she can testify to it. They openly display sachets of all these alcoholic concussions in whatever names. Such things should be banned on the campus. The staff club should not be an open place that is accessible to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, including students. The time for alcohol consumption in Nigeria should be streamlined to the on and off license. If you have an on license, you stick to it. If you have an off license, you stick to it. Sanami told us that it is available, it is cheap, it is accessible, and which is true. In fact, drugs are cheaper than water. So we need to intensify on our policy drive to make sure that deterrence is not alone. We should not encourage it in a subtle way by making it available. We should make concerted effort to make sure that these drugs are not available. If we are copying the civilized nations, America, UK, you cannot just buy alcohol by the roadside. There is a time pubs open. You see clubs opening by 10 a.m., alcohol joint opening by 10 a.m. To who? These are some of the challenges we need to face. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Otunde Kolusho, for that very important question. I agree with you that the problem is high and every hand has to be on deck. We have policies. The question is how strong, how practical, how realistic are these policies? Do we need to strengthen them? As we talk about alcohol, right now, I can make bold to tell you that Nigeria does not have an alcoholic policy, which is not too good for our country and for the kind of problems and challenges the youths are facing as it relates to alcohol consumption and drug abuse. But why we are escalating this conversation is that not one for a tree makes a forest. Our voices needs to be increased. NGOs, other stakeholders, families, schools, other members of the community, all of us need to strengthen our voices to the places where it has to be heard, because it is a collective responsibility. We are all stakeholders at different levels, and we need to increase our voices so that it will get to the places where it needs to get, so that policies can be strengthened, new policies can be established, but most importantly, that the collective and political will to drive these policies and drive these processes will start to be put in place. Thank you so much for that intervention. It is welcomed. Ade Fulore, your hand, I can see that you're raising your hand. Please unmute yourself and make your intervention.
Good evening, ma. My name is Adeflere Ayokunle Bukolua, and I'm grateful for the privilege to speak this evening. I would just like to add a contribution to what we've been saying this morning. And what I would like to say is that we need to also bring our attention to concoction, like drugs concoction. For example, squishes. Because squishes is a combination of different, like 3 or 4, at least 4 different kind of psychotropics and cannabis sativa. Because the reason why I'm saying that is there was a day I was having a conversation with a youth, and to my surprise, she did not know that squishes is not an alcohol. She believed that squishes is an alcohol. Because I asked her that, does she use drug? I asked her if she used cannabis sativa, if she used tramadol or all those other drugs. And she told me that she does not use drugs, that she only take alcohol. So I now inquired further and asked her if she has taken squishes before. And she said yes, that she used to take it very well. And I told her that that is not an alcohol. That squishy is a combination of tramadol, cannabis sativa, refinol, and so many other psychotropic substances. And she was so, to her surprise, and she felt so bad because she thought that it was just alcohol that is served in parties. So I think some people believe that squishes is an alcohol, and they are not aware that it's not an alcohol, that it's a combination of like 4 or 5 different types of drugs, hard drugs. So, and that will be my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ibukun, for that important contribution. Like you said, ignorance, and like other speakers have said, a lot of young people use substances that they don't even know the consequences. They don't even know what they are using. And the dealers these days, because they also want to make more money, they go under different guises of preparing different concoctions and not letting the people they are selling to know what they are buying. So these days, we also have what we call unintended drug use. But most importantly, and it is very dangerous, like the squishes you're talking about, by the time there are different concussions mixed together, definitely the potency will be higher, the consequences will be more devastating, and treatments will be very complex. So we need to create more awareness. We need to provide more education, especially to the young ones, for them to know that this is a reality. These things are real and there are consequences. And prevention, really, they say, is better than cure. Because why we're talking of prevention is that interventions should be put in place at the formative stages of lives, so that by the time they're even going to take decisions, they are able to recognize between right and wrong. They have decision-making skills. They have communication skills. So this is even more important than waiting until the time when these drugs are presented. The foundations need to be strong. Our children need to be empowered. They need to have the skills to be able to cope in a fast-changing world. Thank you very much. Do we have a last contributor before we call it a day? Thank you for your patience. If we don't have any other contributor, maybe at this point, Jamiloju can come in and give the final talk, then we can close up. Is Jamiloju ready? If Jamiloju is not ready, then is Jamiloju ready? If not, Shegun, can you just give us a brief vote of thanks, then we close?
Okay. On behalf of the executive director and founder of the Strides Foundation on PSF, I want to appreciate everyone for that time in attending to this virtual program, the first of its kind for PSF, and would encourage everyone to check us out on our social handles. We'll be posting them in the chat box, and we are interested in partnership, interested in people volunteering with us in any way they want to. As this is just starting up and new collaborations and all. I need your support, especially by you committing to partner with us to achieve the goals we set out to achieve, the betterment of the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shegun. So once again, I thank every participant, impactful knowledge sharing, experience sharing with you on issues that we need to talk about, that we need to escalate. We need to build our societies. We need to strengthen our families. We need to build our community. And the youths are very vital. We need to carry them along. We need their energy. We need their potentials. We need their passion. We need their adventure. We need their optimism. We need their enthusiasm. Most importantly, we need their youth, because their youth, they can unlock complex situations. Thank you and congratulations once again to all the youths and to those of us young at heart on this year's International Youth Day. We look forward to next year when we shall have another memorable celebration. Thank you for coming, and good night, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much.